How's everybody doing?
Great.
I'm doing great, thank you.
Who's Nora?
I guess yeah, I'm supposed to. So just Autism Speaks, just trying to give awareness to autism. It's home, got my daughter's name. I think it's on this shoe, right? My daughter's name on it, my Nora, right? So just trying to give awareness as we went through that journey with her. You know, when she was probably 3 or 4 years old, we were having a hard time even getting any kind of help. Kind of knew something was up, and we eventually found out it's even more difficult for people to diagnose young girls. So boys kind of get the help more than girls do for whatever reason. Fortunately, we had our neighbor up north there was a pediatrician and got us hooked up with the right people. So by the time she got to 4 or 5 years old, we got her the right kind of help that she was, and now she's doing great and doing really well. And living in this area is really cool. A lot more resources, right? So the schools have more resources. She's in a special theater, special gifts theater. She's last year she was it's Elsa and Frozen. This year she's Nala in The Lion King. So like all that good stuff. So just something that's important to our family, and you know, happy to be able to help and give a little bit of exposure to that. So.
Luke, there was significant conversation coming out of the Minnesota game about how extraordinarily horizontal the passing attack was. After you rewatched everything, what was your kind of self-evaluation, self-critique of the passing game in that performance?
Yeah, no, I thought Justin did a really nice job with a lot of that stuff. So a lot of it, what you see is like RPO-ish, right? They come up and they're bringing all out pressure, so you have to have an answer. And so maybe a time or two he didn't need to do it, and then they were able to get the leverage back to us. But I'd say the majority of the time, the guys did Mooney and EQ were unbelievable on the perimeter there last weekend, handling those blocks on the edges, and so that was a really good answer to the run game, and in the way that we handled that. So, and then a few times we had opportunities. I think there was 3 or 4 huge explosives that we lost because we maybe whether there was a protection or whatever happened, miscommunication from the backfielder up front, that we lost some opportunities there that to take advantage of that all out pressure. So hit the big one with Cole on that 4th and 10. That was really good. Great to see Justin drift away from it too to create the extra time, and then Cole did the rest. So some good stuff. But they like we've talked about before. They bring a unique challenge to you that you have to have a different plan when there's 8 guys on the line of scrimmage.
The 3 or 4 that you referenced, so there's opportunities to hit it downfield if it had been fully executed properly.
Yeah, for sure. We whether it was Justin handling the protection adjustment or whether it was the plan was should have been able to give us that opportunity, and then we just weren't able to connect on a couple of those, and that could have really that and the 2 turnovers, you take those it's a completely different game for sure.
Your game plan the first time you faced them didn't appear to be as extreme. What drove you in that direction?
Well, again, I think it became more extreme because there was more. I think that those weren't, you're at least half of those, you're not calling them to do that. That's the reaction because of what you're presented. And so as you go through those type of game plans, you want to have answers for your guys. And whether you're changing to a max protection, whether you're changing to a perimeter, RPO screen, whatever you want to refer to it as, like those are all different ways that we all, whether it's Cole on the delay, like all that stuff. There's a bunch of different ways that you can attack it. And I think it's really important when you play a team that does that much that you don't have too much for your guys too.
So some of that was, obviously Justin Fields' choice on those. Were those the right reactions? Did he go to that too many times?
Yeah, that's what, like I was said before, there was maybe 1 or 2 that he thought something and it really wasn't. But for the most part, Justin did a really nice job of diagnosing that stuff and seeing what they presented to us. And they do a great job of making everything look the same. So whenever they presented it, and sometimes they got out of it, we were still able to, get that, out leverage them. Like I said, Mooney and EQ did a great job last week. There's 2 or 3 of those that were really high level blocking on the outside and sprung DJ pretty good there.
Inside your system, how much freedom do you give the quarterback at the line of scrimmage to go based off what they see, or are there a certain number where after a certain point we're doing what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, the QB has the ultimate decision, right? So whatever he says goes. And so when you play teams that are going to do different things, or even like kind of, you have your training camp opportunities where you just have these base rules, and when you get presented these things, the quarterback has these triggers to get to, and that team just specifically just brings more of that out of you than normal. And but the quarterback has complete control for sure.
Luke, Mooney's production especially for a guy with 1,000 yards 2 years ago, just stands out more and more. You know, this diminished production just stands out more and more. I know Justin has many options, but why has he not been the beneficiary of having DJ Moore? I think that was the theory, that that's a guy who would really benefit by being open more, having more one-on-ones, whatever. Why has he not had any kind of breakout with Moore on the team?
Yeah, I think you know, there's a lot of factors that go into that. There's definitely not one specific thing. I think, you know, the opponents, the game plans, the style. You know, I mean, last week what a critical third down conversion he had versus another all out pressure. Did a great job making a good decision, made a nice catch, got up and finished that play. Yeah, Mooney's doing a lot of really good things. I think it's just sometimes, you know, DJ's getting a lot of the action, Cole's getting a lot of the action, and then, you know, and Mooney's been sprinkling in there. And like I've said before, Cole and Mooney are really big situational football guys for us. They stand, you know, the plays are designed for those guys. When you get to the gold zone, when you get third down situational, those guys, and then, you know, and then you have this added element of a quarterback who can run the football, right? So that takes away a little bit away from those opportunities, if you will. Maybe that just a traditional offense would run with, you know, more targets going all over the place.
Working closely with DJ Moore as you have the last several months.
Sorry, one more
DJ
time.
Moore,
Yeah.
what's been your impressions of him as like a player and a person, and is there anything that surprised you? You obviously knew of him, but before he got here, is there anything different maybe about him?
No, nothing that I haven't said already in here. He's done a great job of coming in as a humble guy, that kind of making sure he fits in and tying into his teammates first. And then now as the season's gone along, the growth of the leadership part of it has been really cool to see him, you know, step up, and not just the receiver room, but on the offense as a whole. I think everybody in that room has so much respect for the work ethic that he brings, kind of teammate that he is. You know, he always puts it on himself. Like every coaching point that we ever give DJ, it's always I got you, and it's always like, okay, how can I, you know, apply that? And conversations are great. The attentiveness is great. I mean, he's been really good for us.
Luke, Foos talked about the sense of urgency with this offense and trying to really unlock it the way you guys hope. 5 games left in this regular season. What kind of pressure or burden do you feel with that sense of urgency and trying to get this thing really going?
And I mean, there's no, like I said before, there's no pressure or urgency more than I put on myself, that we put on ourselves as a staff to make this as good of a unit as possible. And you know, there's got to be progress each week, and I feel like there has been. And I think as you continue to look through it, you know, like the last couple games, 40 minutes of ball of time of possession, 35 minutes of ball time of possession. Those are two really cool things. Like that's pretty good execution to be able to have the ball that long. To be top 10 in third down and gold zone, like that's pretty good execution that's going on. Now it's not consistent enough, that's for sure. You know where we want to go and what we want to be, but it's about that progress. And I think, you know, coaches mentioned that it's we got to have that you know, there's a patience with it, but there's got to be the urgency in the sense that we have to keep continuing to grow, and I think that we are, and we just got to continue on that path.
When you face the defense for the second time in 3 games, how different does your game plan have to be? And is that part of the thought process 2 weeks ago when your game plan and okay, what's it gonna look like in Detroit? And what do I want it to look like 2 weeks later?
It's not always the same. You know, I think, you know, the team we just played, you know, they do kind of do what they do, and everybody else has to kind of react to them, right? Where I think these guys do a really good job of playing their opponent specifically, and so there's just different challenges when you do that, and so these guys do a really good job, and we've seen it, you know, what they've been able to do with the pressure rate. 97's, you know, pain in the butt, right? And so we got to deal with that. So that doesn't change. That part of it doesn't change. So every opponent's different. I think Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota will have their own different flavors, and these guys obviously present something a little bit different.
Roshan Johnson.
5 games left. Obviously, there's a lot of unknown about Justin's future. He seems to have a very healthy perspective, at least at this point. Have you observed the same thing? Like, how has he navigated kind of all this outside noise that inevitably he's going to hear?
Yeah, I think we've said it since we've been here, right? He's an extremely humble young man that has purpose and passion, and the consistency that we bring in the room every single day, you know, he takes that and leads that as much as anybody. So I think that's extremely important, that he stays that way, and the kind of man that he is first, and the kind of teammate that he is, no matter what the circumstances are. But we bring the juice every single day. We bring that passion every single day, and he's the lead of all that stuff too. So he's done a great job of it. And we attack. We talked about, is there a different approach when he comes back from he's hurt? There really wasn't. It's just this guy's always attacking, and we do the same thing in that QB room.
Luke Roshan played a lot in that last game, Roshan Johnson. What did you see? How did he earn that role, and then what did you see from him in the game?
Yeah, I think Roshan just kind of, he's following that progression path, right? He's doing a great job situationally in protection. He's doing a great job in the pass game, run after catch. There was, I can think early in the season he caught 2 or 3 checkdowns and kind of froze, and we didn't get the first down. In these last 2 games, he's caught that thing. He's gotten vertical. He's made a guy miss, and he's finishing forward. He had the big 3rd and 5 conversion last week on the run play, the way he finished that run for us. So I just think, he's taking advantage of those opportunities, and it's a credit to him.
With regard to the final 5 games, Luke, you said this is a 17-game process so long ago, and you're still in that process. But frankly, Bears fans need to see a lot more in the last 5 weeks to really be convinced that this offense is heading in the right direction. What about from your perspective? How much? I know you said you want to see more consistency, but from production, and how much more do you really need to see? How big of a jump do you have to make in these next 5 games to really for you to be convinced that what you're doing is working?
Yeah, I don't think that there is an exact mark. I think I truly believe it's just that you have to continue to see growth. And if we continue to see growth from all the areas, then we know we're going in the right direction. And if we don't see that, then we have to have discussions. But I think what we can definitely have, because we just had a bye week to evaluate all that stuff. I think we definitely see that growth happening, and we're excited to see where the next 5 weeks takes us.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, guys.
Andre, on the interception that Jaquan had against the Vikings, what did you see in terms of his ability to position himself to be able to capitalize on a moment there?
Oh well, it was really good play by them, and when 3 came across, Jaquan was on a difficult angle. His angle initially could have been a little better, but his recovery was fantastic. For him to stick his foot in the ground and get back in full extension, and then get his hands on the ball and cradle it was pretty spectacular. I thought he could have made it a little easier on himself to start, but that was a great job by him finding a way to get back to the ball and get his hands underneath, roll over and secure the catch, which is pretty good.
What do you think the biggest factor has been in the defense being able to force 7 turnovers in the last, all interceptions in the last 2 games?
Yeah, well, it's a lot that goes into that. Obviously, the rushing coverage kind of work hand in hand. We've been pressuring the quarterback at a little bit higher rate as far as just not blitz, but just 4-man rush has increased in pressure, which is always good. And the better you rush them, the tighter you cover them, usually you put yourself in good position for good things to happen. And the guys have been in position and capitalized on them.
What sticks out to you about the ability of the Lions to use St. Brown when they need him most? I think 6 of his 8 catches were first downs. He had a touchdown.
Yeah.
He really jumped out the last time.
He's a really good player, and they do a really good job of finding ways to create space for him in the passing game. He does a lot on his own with his stems, his releases, how he kind of sets his routes up. Sometimes he's slow in and fast out, or vice versa. He has a nice change of pace, tempo to his routes, and so he's just a versatile player. He's been a really good player, and they use him well. I just think he does a good job, and they do a good job of setting up things for him.
Similar token, Laporta has been increasingly productive for them, and none more so than last week. What are you seeing out of his emergence in that offense with all the weapons they have?
Yeah, well, they're skilled between 14, 26, 87, 9 emerging. They got talent. 87 is doing a really nice job in the middle of the field. Especially last week, he kind of exploded. Golf, has shown that he really likes him. He finds a way to really get his body into defenders and break away from their leverage, and he's been very sure-handed. So I just think they do a nice job in the middle of the field with him, and they find ways to use him and create space for him as well.
Andre, it seems like everybody in the secondary is getting themselves some interceptions, but Eddie Jackson right now, why is that?
Well, I just tell him, he's been, the past couple of weeks, he's been in really good position. And really, that's what you coach. The rest of the stuff will take care of itself, the timing of the routes and that type of thing. I thought in the Minnesota game on that play early was a fantastic range play. Had the ball till the end. Him and the receiver battling for it. So his position is gotten has gotten better. He's been close, and it's only a matter of time because we know he has an instinct and a nose for the ball, and it all starts with position and then pad level and transition, all the things we try to coach. So he's doing a really good job with that, and any day now, any day now.
After seeing Montez Sweat from afar or on film or whatever in previous years, what can you say? What kind of an impression has he made, excuse me, on you in person as a member of your team?
Yeah, positive. As a man and as a person, I just think he's a team-oriented guy, and he cares deeply. Even in a short time, I just see how he kind of interacts with all different people on the team, not just defense. I just think he's got a really good personality. Athletically, the thing that's glaring about him is his size, but how fast he closes. Like that play they ran a boot and Golf got outside, and you just saw his speed run him down. That's a unique for a man that big.
Are you guys talking about what happened in Detroit last time? Is that something that you want them to use as motivation, something they are using as motivation at all?
I think just like anything after a game, you always have to assess the things you did well, the things you need to improve upon, and then you always, as a coach, are anticipating what do they do next off of what they've already done. And so I just think that's just a part of the process.
Andre, when a team has had adversity and struggles, they can often come apart. How has Flus been able to hold this team and especially these players together and keep these guys fighting and committed this season?
Well, he's done a nice job of, kind of keeping them together, being positive with them, pointing out what they need to do. But a lot of the credit goes to the players. They're a tight group. That's what the stuff outside the building that you don't see. Guys watching film at guys' houses, guys staying there, guys getting together. Those are, to me, are the real special. That's the special sauce. The closer you are, usually the better, more instinctive plays you can play when you're around one another more. They talk things out on their own too, which is pretty cool.
Big picture wise, how would you kind of assess Jaquan's season? Like, has he made the strides in the areas that you want to see this year?
Yeah, I think he's starting to come on. I think he's past couple games he got nicked up and injured there, and then he came back and found his rhythm. He's getting close to the ball. He's great about doing whatever we need him to do in order for us to try to be competitive, to try to find a way to win. And his skill set allows that. He's been deep some, he's been dropping down some. A couple times he dropped down inside of 14 and played inside out on them. So we're just using him in different ways, whatever ways we can try to use him to help us win. And he's all for that. He's all for that.
We talked previously about the energy and the passion of his personality.
Yeah.
And on game days, he seems to really feed off interacting, whether it be with opponents, opposing crowds. What do you make of just kind of his ability to fuel off the environment and the stage?
Well, that's him. I mean, if you're around him outside of football, he's kind of a real kind of low key, mellow guy. But out there, he's got juice. He's just he loves playing the game. He's got passion for it. He's a striker. He likes being in the mix. So that's just what he brings. That's just his style.
With Jaquan, he throws his body around a whole lot. As you mentioned, he gets dinged up from time to time. Did you ever talk to him about maybe changing his approach to maybe not be so violent the way he throws his body around so he can stay a full season?
Yeah, well, his thing is his style. That's how he plays. And I don't know if you ever want to coach a player out of what their natural gifts and talents allow. As a coach, you give them scheme, you give them structure, and then the really good ones let their personality show in their play, and that's just how he plays. And when you are confident, you know what you're doing, and you play free, that's when it works the best.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, how's everyone?
Good.
Good, how are you? How you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. Thanks for asking. Real quick, Allie just informed me that Robbie Gold has announced his retirement, and I just want to congratulate him on a long, successful career, great competitor, clutch in big moments when we needed him to be, consistent. Just everybody knows he's an all-time Bears leading scorer, and it means a lot to the city of Chicago, and just want to congratulate him on a hell of a career. He's done an outstanding job, and wishing him the best in the next phase of his life. And I know if he attacks that the way he attacked his career, he's gonna be super successful at that as well. So just want to congratulate him on that. Second, also wanted to congratulate Cairo on being named and awarded the Special Teams Player of the Month for November. He's having a great season so far. Obviously 23 of 25 on field goals, 21 of 22 on extra points, 6 for 6 from plus 50 kicks, so he's 100% there. And then with a long of 55. And we just got out of our field goal meeting, and the way he feels about that and the way we all feel about that, that's a team award. And he's a selfless player, and really want to credit the operation as well with Trent and Scales. A lot of that goes unnoticed when a guy's having a season like he's having. And then also the field goal protection team, the O-line. We just got out the meeting. Those guys are very fired up about that and have been since we gotten back. So with that, open it up to questions.
When it comes to Robbie, your time around him, what did you take away from the way he approached his craft?
Yeah, just an elite competitor. You know, most of the really, really good ones have the mental toughness and the mental fortitude to persevere through a lot of different things. I mean, Phil Dawson was that way. Robbie was that way. Cairo was a great example. Is Cairo in that game? You know, not obviously making that first kick he wanted to make it, but just the resolve and the resilience and the mental fortitude and the competitor that he was going back out there making those kicks. In the end, it helped us win the game. 2 big fourth quarter kicks, clutch, the 55-yarder and the and obviously the game winner. That's what I would say. Like those guys all have that. They have that elite competitiveness and resolve to fight through. That's what I appreciate the most about all of those guys.
Going back to the 2021 playoff game against the Packers, where you guys basically won that with special teams. What do you think of Robbie from that game, especially like the game winner as time expires?
Yeah, I mean, that was an awesome experience for our whole football team. Big kick for him, obviously. Big kick for the franchise there. Anytime you know, beat Green Bay, I'm all for it, you know. So it just was a special moment, you know. It was a special moment, and it's a one that those guys on that team will cherish, and it's something that I'm hoping that as we continue to build something here really special, that we can have a moment like that, and Bears fans and everybody here can experience that as well. That's why we come to work every day, is for moments like that.
You also had him in 17, that game against the Bears where he had 5 field goals to win 15-14. What do you remember about his emotions for that one and what that game meant for him and for you guys as a team?
Yeah, I just remember that being it's weird for me to talk about that game because I'm a Bear, you know? So, but I just remember that game being a tough game. Like this game is gonna be a field position, grind out game, you know, like our game was in Minnesota. A field position battle where you could count on your kicker to make the kicks. And he was locked in that week, super focused. I remember that being Jimmy's homecoming, first time I think playing in Chicago. He's from Chicago. So again, it's good memories from a long time ago, but it was against the Bears. So I'm a Bear now, and my checks don't say Niners. So I'm not gonna sit up here and celebrate Niners. I'm a Bear, okay? And I just remember a great day, great memories, and those guys will always cherish that. So I'm appreciative to be a part of something like that, and I'm happy for all the guys that were on that team.
Richard, sorry for another Robbie question, but I was curious, when he started, they wouldn't even let him kick 50-yarders. This is 05, 06, and then he became, I think, one of the better 50-yard field goal kickers around, even at an advanced age. Was that just part of that evolution, just part of the general trend in the NFL where guys are more accurate at kicking more, or did Robbie do something in his game that just made him a better long-range kicker?
Yeah, I was, where are you referring to, and what part of, what part of?
506, he kicked 2 field goals in like 50 and beyond in 4 years. I mean, they never even, you know.
Yeah, I was at the Texans at that time, so I can't speak to
But I'm
that time and the reason why during there. And I was here in 16, I could just tell you. And then the other time, and then obviously the time I've been here with Cairo and all field goal kickers, they go through just different phases. That's the part of the mental toughness we spoke to earlier, and different things that they work on in the off season that they want to get better, like strengthening their leg. I can't speak to 2006 because I wasn't here, but I just know the guy's work ethic is phenomenal, and he's an elite competitor.
Richard, the last time you played Detroit, the end of that game, the safety occurs and you've got the free kick and you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. But when you're in that situation, obviously you plan for that. What's the best case scenario of what can happen when you've got a free kick that you basically have to get?
You're talking about at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the best case scenario is that you get the ball back.
I mean,
You know, that's the
are you angling for a muffed punt there, basically get it up as high as possible?
that one we were, yeah, creating a scrum, getting the ball up as much as possible. But there's several different kicks you can use in that situation. That's a particularly odd
Yeah.
situation to do it after a safety. But yeah, definitely that's what we're working for.
And you coached a team that had never needed to try that before in a game?
Have I coached a team that never tried it?
No, that actually, was that the first time you'd ever tried that in a game?
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever had to do that in the game. It's not the first time I've ever seen it. It actually happened this year too. I believe it was the Patriots, but it's happened throughout the course of the year. Like we keep files, and my files go back to uh, my personal files go back to 2006 because it's when I got in the league. But there's some guys I work with before have files back to the 90s, so they're non-HD. So we just study a lot of ball. So it's been done a lot of times.
What did the Patriots do, if you don't mind me asking? Did they pop it up? Or?
They popped it up. Yeah, they popped it up. Yep.
Richard, do special teams coaches and players, like when it's December and you get the weather and you can kind of play some, advantages, whatnot. I mean, do you like having, I know the wind adds challenges, but is there kind of do you kind of relish those challenges?
Yeah, I actually do. I think you got to embrace any environment that you're in, and I think being a Bear and being able to coach in Chicago, like you have to use that to your advantage. So I think it's really cool that we have guys that embrace that, guys that kick in that and can kick in that weather, and then also returners that can return in that weather. And this city has been known for, and team has been known for that being advantageous. So I definitely looking forward to it. To me, it's a part of being a Bear.
We mentioned returners with Bayless playing last week. What sort of help can he give you in these weather situations where there might not be as many touchbacks as there usually are?
Yeah, I think he can just be himself. Like I think we got to first of all do a great job of blocking, and we got to do a great job of making great decisions. Uh, but he can just be himself and attack things the way he attacked them uh, last year and some of this year when he had some success against Minnesota. So that's what we're looking forward to. Him getting a chance to the weather changing. We talked about this early in the year, but the weather changing and all of a sudden, in our city, kickoff return being a weapon for us. So that's what we're hoping for.
I know there's-
Cairo, he's been really good the past, since he's returned here. Last 2 years he's missed 4 kicks, but 3 of them have been indoors. Is that something where he's just so much better outdoors, or is it just kind of a coincidence that it might be indoors?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely could be a coincidence. Definitely could also be the fact that they just happen when they happen. Like I don't know if there's a real reason for it because every kick is totally different. Like every operation is totally different. Every snap is totally different. Every hold is different. Every kick is different. It's like trying to hit the same uh, golf shot every time. It's not gonna happen. So whether that's indoors or outdoors, I don't know if you can make that direct comparison to that or point it directly to that, but All I know is we got 5 outdoor games and he's been money outdoors, so I'm looking forward to it. Anything else? Thank you all.
Thank you.